Hey guys, Dr. Owens here. Just wanted to give you a brief tour of the office. If you're coming down, I'll give you a brief preview of what you're going to see when you come through the doors. Come on with me. To fracture. So hyperflexion is typically accompanied by trauma and definitely needs the proper care.
Dr. Owens, what is the damage on soft tissue damage when an auto accident occurs?
Okay, first off, let's talk about what soft tissue is. Soft tissue is the muscles, the tendons, which is the end of muscle, where it attaches into the bone, the ligaments, which are our supportive structure, which go from bone to bone, and the discs, which are the pads in between the bones.
Okay.
So, soft tissue damage can occur basically when you're hit. There's some variation, but your head can go, in most accidents where the person's rear-ended or. And what's unique about this instrument is we apply the force. We can take the patient literally through a range of motion, adjusting this patient where the restrictions are. Now, Les has a restriction going backwards, so we can apply an adjusting force while he extends through the it's got a little bounce to it, but it's harder and it'll actually stick to a wall. So let me show you first how to use the lacrosse ball. In his case, I suggested using the lacrosse ball on his chest and on his back. And what you'll do is you'll find the tender areas in there. And you'll get right up on, you'll do both sides, but you get up on the wall and you'll place it on the pec muscle. And as you start rolling around, you'll find the tender areas. When you find a tender area, you lean in slightly and roll. And you can roll here on the outside of the shoulder. You'd be surprised, you might find some tender spots here that may even refer pain, because muscles can refer pain to other areas of the body. That's called a trigger point, or it's a muscle spasm that sends pain out to other areas. So you could have literally a trigger point here referring pain to your shoulder, a trigger point in the back here that refers out or around. So now here I am, I'm rolling the outside of the scapula. We're kind of on the rotator cuff area, the infraspinatus muscle here. You'll find some tender moves of the joint. It's actually causing a healing action. We taped her scapular muscles here, where a lot of people have pain in between the shoulder blades. This can help. The characteristics of discs is that to remain healthy, these are filled with water on a healthy disc. They need to flex and move, and with this movement, it brings water and helps the disc stay healthy. The water is pulled. It's continual support. It's a lot like sending an adjustment home with the patient. Okay. Last one here on this one. And when we finish this up, we'll literally hear Celeste breathe a sigh of relief. This would be looking at somebody from behind. I'm going to set the spine down here on the table. Sometimes folks have pain in the side of the lower back, not dead in the middle, but off to the side. And that is pain generated from the SI joint, or sacroiliac joint. And so how we work on that is I'll work with patients, especially if they're not responding. We want to make sure and rule that kind of stuff out before we continue on with chiropractic care. But 90 to 95% of all pain conditions in the spine are something that we can handle and take care of just nicely. So, good morning, everyone. Dr. Owens, Chiropractic of Bellevue. And today I want to show you a great little technique I learned and that I used myself to keep the shoulders, pain-free, keep them mobile, and help you before your workouts, after the workouts. And all you need is a little stretchy band. And you can use any kind of stretchy band that you like. The exercise is called stretchy band dislocates. And what we're doing is we are going to work the shoulder through a range of motion where it's tight. because we seldom move the shoulder back. We're always forward, doing computer work or working on stuff. To keep the shoulders healthy, we have to stretch them backwards, which stretches the pecs, but also work. A long time, it's broken down. Bone spurs are completely preventable with proper chiropractic care, with proper sensible exercise and stretching. You know, if it's a sore muscle from working out in the yard, raking leaves, or vacuuming a house, that's going to go away in a day or two. That's obviously not serious. You're going to know that. But all back pain that that is more of a pain and not like a muscle soreness is always serious. There's a cause, something that is creating that, and if left to its own devices and not handled, not where you haven't figured out what's causing it and we're working to correct it, it's going to develop into arthritis down the road. There are a number of tests that we can do. They're called orthopedic tests, and that just means they're joint tests that we put the joints in, or move your body in certain positions that give me information about what's hurt and what's serious and what's not as serious.
Oh, okay.
To roll with a foam roller. Now this is a foam roller. It's fairly solid. It's not squishy like a pillow. It's solid, so you want to roll the muscles on it. Again, we're trying to find those tender spots and work them. And with a pain in the upper back, for a real basic, you just want to roll along the spine. And then you can go to one side, roll up onto the shoulder. You find those tender spots. Other side. And doing that, as we relax the tension out of those muscles, the pain will decrease. Because these muscles, these tight spastic muscles, aren't generating pain all the time. That was my advice from Mark. Hope you do it, Mark, and good luck with the foam rolling. Go get your lacrosse ball and get to work. That's Dr. Owens with a simple solution for chest and mid-back. Into the neck, hyperextension is an excessive movement backwards of the neck. Typically, again, occurs in car accidents, but again, it can occur in injuries like football, where you catch the football and you're going for the end zone, boom, and you get tackled. You tackle from behind, that force input causes the neck to go into hyperextension. Again, the same things occur as you go back like this. Things can tear. The musculature up front can tear. The ligaments can tear, causing chronic pains and problems, misalignment of the spine. It definitely needs to be addressed. Pillows are very individualistic. However, I'm doing some testing right now with some different pillows. There's some new ones on the market that I really like. One of them is this. A lot of people have trouble with their heads getting really hot, myself included. The ventilated pillow, this is all a nice memory foam, but it's got air holes so that it keeps it cool. The other one is a compartmented pillow, and that will hold up to a lot of different types of bodies. Sciatica is a fancy word that describes pain in the back that extends down into the legs.
Okay.
Children very often have back pain. They don't always know how to communicate it. Children have back pain because they have falls. Any of you parents out there with kids know that the kids fall off slides, they fall off their bikes. All of these jolts to the body produce little impacts that cause misalignments of the bone. So these bones get jammed, and they just get jammed a little bit, and kids are real flexible, so they sometimes don't notice it. They're pretty good at finding really gross abnormalities in the spine, but they often will give you a false positive. In other words, they call something scoliosis that's a muscle spasm. So it really needs to be, if you have a known family history of scoliosis, and especially, okay, first off, let's talk about what soft tissue is. Soft tissue is the muscles, the tendons, which is the end of muscle, where it attaches into the bone, the ligaments, which are their supportive structure, which go from bone to bone, and the discs, which are the pads in between the bones.
Okay.
So, soft tissue damage can occur basically when you're hit. There's some variation, but your head can go in most accidents where the person's rear-ended or front-end something else, the head goes forward and then backwards into a hyper, meaning too much flexion forward, hyper, too much extension going back. As we get into the too much, that's where things tear. Here you can see a picture of a torn muscle here, and that would be a very significant tear there. But these are the kind of conditions we see after car accidents. When the head moves backwards, these muscles can tear. Here is an example of a ligament that's torn, and this is the knife-shaped ligament that goes down the back when your head goes forward. That can tear. Here's an example of all little intricate spinal ligaments that can tear. When these tear, your spine loses some of its stability. And just like the ankle that you sprained back in high school, you always sprain that ankle. You always sprain it the same way. It's kind of weaker than it was before. Same thing can happen in your neck, and if the proper care is not given, it can really become a nasty situation where arthritis develops into the future because of that lack of stability. So the muscles tearing, the ligaments tearing, those are the main soft tissue things that we deal with after a car accident. We can deal, however, also with a ruptured disc, and if of course, if chiropractic care can't resolve that, your other options are on that or surgery. So it's always good to try the conservative approach first, your chiropractic care, your physical therapy, your exercise, moving into the more invasive things like surgery.